Step into Luna's fantasy whispers, where thrilling adventures, shimmering magic, tender love, and endless wonder await. I'm Luna, your guide to magical tales. Let's escape into a story together with episode 3 of Whispers in the Enchanted Forest. Shadows of Secrets. Elara caught Lord Varyn's stern gaze from the square's edge, a chill running through her, cutting through the warmth of the moment. His silver circlet glinted in the lantern light, his eyes cold and unyielding, a silent warning that made her stomach twist. Thalor noticed her tension, his hand tightening on hers, a protective gesture that steadied her racing heart. "Ignore him," he whispered, his voice low, meant for her alone. "He's all bark, no bite, at least for now." But Elara wasn't so sure, the weight of Varyn's gaze lingering like a shadow over the festival's glow. Thalor led Elara to a quiet corner by a glowing pond, the festival's noise softening to the gentle song of crickets and the hum of the water's magic. They sat on a mossy bench, the pond reflecting the floating lanterns like a sky full of stars, their light dancing on the surface in a mesmerizing swirl. The air was cool, scented with night-blooming flowers, and Elara felt the tension in her shoulders ease, the festival's warmth wrapping around her like a blanket. "Tell me about your world," Thalor said, his voice soft, a gentle invitation that made her heart ache with its sincerity. "Small," Elara admitted, her voice barely above a whisper, the word heavy with years of longing. "Duty, not dreams. My village. It's all I've ever known. I care for my father, mend clothes, cook meals, day after day the same. But here, it's like waking up from a long sleep." She paused, her fingers tracing the edge of the bench, the rough moss grounding her as memories of her village flooded back. She thought of the gray mornings, the endless fields, the way her neighbors' eyes held pity when they looked at her, a girl bound by duty, her dreams tucked away like a forgotten keepsake. Thalor's smile was gentle, his storm-gray eyes softening with understanding, as if he could see the weight she carried. He leaned closer, his shoulder brushing hers, the warmth of his presence a quiet comfort. "The forest has a way of waking us," he said, his voice a low murmur. "It brought me here too, long ago. I was lost, searching for something I couldn't name. But I found it, in the magic, in the people." He paused, his gaze distant as if seeing a memory play out in the lantern-lit water. "There's a legend," he continued, his voice taking on a storytelling lilt, "of star-crossed lovers whose bond broke a curse centuries ago. They were from different worlds, one human, one fae. But their love changed everything. The forest remembers their story, and it whispers it to those who listen." Elara's breath caught, the legend weaving a thread of hope through her fears. "Changed everything?" she asked, her voice tinged with wonder, her heart clinging to the idea of love strong enough to break barriers. "Yes," Thalor said, his eyes meeting hers, the moment charged with an unspoken promise. "They proved that love can mend what fear breaks." He paused, his gaze searching hers, as if looking for something she wasn't sure she could give. "What do you dream of, Elara?" "Freedom," she whispered, her heart open, the words spilling out like a confession. "To be more than I've been. To belong somewhere. Truly belong." Her voice trembled, the vulnerability raw, but Thalor's gaze held no judgment, only a quiet understanding that made her feel seen in a way she never had before. Pip interrupted, splashing glowing water at them from the pond, his tiny wings buzzing as he giggled, the sound bright and carefree. "Got you again!" he chirped, darting away as Elara and Thalor laughed, the tension breaking like a wave. The water droplets sparkled in the lantern light, clinging to Elara's dress, and for a moment she felt as if the forest itself was playing with her. welcoming her in its own way. But a deep bell tolled, its sound echoing through the village, a signal of the elders' nightly ritual to strengthen the spell that protected the village. Thalor stiffened, his hand tightening on hers, his playful demeanor replaced by urgency. "There's something you need to know," he began, his voice low, the words heavy with meaning. The bell tolled again, louder, cutting through the night like a warning, and villagers turned, their faces tense, their laughter fading into murmurs. Thalor's words were lost in the sound, his expression torn, a storm brewing in his storm-gray eyes. Elara's heart raced. What was he about to say? The festival's glow seemed to dim, and Lord Varyn's gaze lingered in her mind, a shadow she couldn't shake. What secrets did this village hold? Elara woke in the guest cottage, her mind swirling with the festival's glow and Thalor's unfinished words. The emerald dress hung by the bed, a reminder of the night before. His hand on hers, his voice close, promising secrets. But the bell's toll and Lord Varyn's cold stare lingered like a shadow, a dark undercurrent beneath the village's warmth. A knock broke her thoughts, pulling her from the haze of her dreams. Mira entered, carrying a tray of tea and bread, the steam rising in soft curls, the scent of chamomile filling the room. "You look troubled, dear," Mira said, her half-fey eyes searching, her voice a gentle balm to Elara's frayed nerves. "The festival stirred something, didn't it?" Elara nodded, her fingers tracing the rim of the teacup, its warmth grounding her. "Thalor was about to tell me something." Then the bell rang. She hesitated, her father's coughs echoing in her mind, a reminder of the life she'd left behind. "Mira, can the village help my father? He's ill, back home." Mira's smile was kind, her eyes softening with understanding, a motherly warmth that made Elara's chest ache. "We'll find a way, dear. Our healers may know remedies, potions that can ease his lungs, woven with forest magic. Focus on why you're here, on the path the forest has set for you." Elara's heart lightened, a weight lifting at the thought of her father's care, but the mystery of Thalor's words and Varyn's gaze still pressed on her. That afternoon, she wandered the village square, the heart of the forest pulsing softly at its center, its golden light a beacon in the daylight. Villagers bustled around her, their daily tasks a dance of routine. Children chased glowing butterflies, elders carved runes into wooden talismans, and women wove baskets with vines that shimmered like moonlight. The air was filled with the scent of fresh bread and wildflowers, the sounds of laughter and soft chatter weaving a tapestry of life that felt both foreign and achingly familiar. Lyra joined her, pointing out a stall with magical crafts, her golden hair catching the sunlight, her eyes bright with curiosity. "This crystal glows with emotions," Lyra said, handing Elara a small orb, its surface cool and smooth against her palm. It shimmered with her curiosity, shifting to a soft blue, then a warm gold, reflecting the storm of feelings in her heart. Elara smiled, marveling at the magic, but Lyra's expression turned serious, her crystal dimming to a muted gray. "Some elders don't trust humans," she said, her voice low, her hands fidgeting with the hem of her dress. "My brother, he died because of one, long ago, a human traitor. He betrayed us, led hunters to our borders. My family never recovered." Elara's heart sank, the weight of Lyra's words settling like a stone in her chest. She reached out, touching Lyra's arm, her voice soft with empathy. "I'm sorry," she said, her words earnest, her hand lingering in a gesture of comfort. "I'll prove I'm different. I promise." Lyra nodded, her crystal flickering with a faint hope, but her eyes remained distant, haunted by memories Elara couldn't touch. Drawn by curiosity, Elara slipped behind a stall, where a group of elders gathered, their cloaks embroidered with runes that glowed faintly in the sunlight. Their voices were low, urgent, a hushed counsel that sent a shiver down her spine. "The ritual nears," one said, his tone heavy with foreboding, his hands clasped tightly around a staff carved with ancient symbols. "The spell demands a human to keep us hidden, to shield us from those who would destroy us." "The forest brought a human," another whispered, her voice a mix of awe and suspicion, her eyes darting to the heart of the forest. "She could be a sign, but we must be cautious. Varyn will decide her fate." Elara's blood ran cold, her breath catching in her throat. "Me." The words, human, ritual, hidden, sank like stones, each one heavier than the last. She pressed against the stall, her hands trembling, the crystal in her pocket glowing with fear, its light a stark red. The village's warmth felt like a trap, its glow a facade hiding a darker truth. Thalor's hand touched her shoulder, his presence a sudden anchor in the storm of her thoughts. His eyes were wide with concern, his voice a whisper. "You shouldn't be here," he said, pulling her into the shadows, his grip firm but gentle, his warmth a contrast to the cold fear in her chest. In a secluded grove, Elara faced Thalor, her fear boiling into anger, her voice shaking with betrayal. "What's the ritual?" she demanded, her hands clenched at her sides. "Are they planning to sacrifice me?" Thalor's face fell, guilt flickering in his storm-gray eyes, a storm of emotions she couldn't read. What secrets was he hiding, and could Elara trust him with her life? What is Thalor hiding? Can Elara uncover the truth? Comment below. What would you do if you uncovered a village's dark secret? Should Elara trust Thalor or investigate alone? Like, subscribe, and join us for the next episode of Whispers in the Enchanted Forest.